What is going on, guys? Honest Content here. Today we're going to be talking about Pokemon Clover, the new Pokemon ROM hack for Pokemon Fire Red. It's probably one of the most boundary-pushing ROM hacks of 2020, and I think you guys should be playing it. And what makes Pokemon Clover stick out from your regular run-of-the-mill ROM hack is it features an entire cast of new Pokemon, 386 to be exact. It features an upgraded battle system, Generation 7 and 8 competitive AI, custom graphics, backgrounds. It even has Wonder Trading, which again, I don't know how they programmed that into a Game Boy Advance game, but they somehow did. And of course, there's your new staples like a Generation 5 repel system, reusable TMs. There's even new Pokeballs too if you're into that. There's a lot of crazy new stuff in this ROM hack. And I'm basically just going to talk about my experience playing this ROM hack and why I think you guys should play it too, especially if you haven't played any of the main series Pokemon games because maybe they're too easy or something. Then Pokemon Clover is definitely the game that you're probably going to like. It started development in 2014 in a very rough state that eventually branched out of years of work from the developers with new characters, maps, music, gameplay changes. I probably should mention that the game is developed by people on 4chan, so a lot of this game's humor and a lot of the references that it's making are either meme culture or 4chan humor. If that's a buzzkill for you, I would still recommend hearing me out for a second. At first viewing of the game screenshots, I thought it was just a dumb Pokemon meme ROM hack. The game looked very bizarre, the Pokemon looked very bizarre. They were all like references and jokes to things. The game was really edgy, but if you peel the layers of the ROM hack, there's actually an incredible amount of layers to the game, and there's an incredible amount of work that was put into it as well. It's very boundary pushing for just a ROM hack of Pokemon Fire Red. It adds in features that are really refreshing for a Pokemon game even released in 2020. The level of coding and just impressiveness to this hack is actually pretty crazy, because like I said, when I first viewed the screenshots, I didn't think anything of this game. I thought it was just some dumb, stupid ROM hack. So basically, you know how in any Pokemon main series game, one of the strategies you do to win is just buy a crap load of revives at the Pokemart, and then if your Pokemon is dying, then just spam revives until you win. Well, in Pokemon Clover, that actually doesn't work. You actually can't use revives in battle. On paper, you might not think it's a big deal, but this game is balanced around that, and it is actually really challenging for a Pokemon ROM hack. It adds a new layer of challenge, and it makes me wonder why Game Freak hasn't ever thought of doing something like this. But it is Game Freak at the end of the day. They've never made Pokemon games that challenging. The game even limits the amount of potions that you're able to use in a battle. I found that these things made gym battles, rival battles, and the Elite Four especially more challenging, because essentially it forces you to grind more in the game and make more of a solid team so you can face the stronger trainers. One of the other things in the game that is really good programming is actually another real small thing that makes a big difference. Your opponents will actually switch out and counter your Pokemon type that you have out on the field. So for example, if you have a fire type out, your opponent's going to switch into their water type. If you have a grass type out, they might switch out to their poison type. It actually makes the game have a lot more depth, and it makes the game even that much more difficult. It actually mirrors how more competitive Pokemon actually is. If you're facing a real life opponent, your opponent's going to do things like that to you. So the fact it never happens in the main games kinda is a little disappointing, which is why I think Pokemon Clover doing something like this in a Generation 3 ROM hack is pretty cool. But I'm sure you guys are wondering, are the fake Pokemon any good? And I would say yes. Even though most of these Pokemon are meant to be jokes or are really crudely designed, I can't really say I didn't enjoy the cast of the game. They actually really grow on you over time. So for my starter, I chose the grass starter, which is called Grasshole. Yes, there's a giant tree that eventually will grow out of its ass, and it's called Rectrine. My dude Mobster, he was a lobster and a mobster karate thing. He literally saved 90% of my playthrough, and actually in order to get him really early, you have to do like an in-game trade, and it was totally worth it. Reckroach, another dope name, he was really good. He was a bug dark type. Bolabol was my poison type. She was actually poison dark. I recommend it having a poison type in this game, by the way, because there's a lot of fairy types, and yes, this game has the fairy type for it being a Gen 3 ROM hack. Speaking of fairy types, my 5th Pokemon was the fire fairy type Pizza Waifu Maza Mazel. I think that's how it's pronounced. Her pre-evolution is Chizetta. I played previous versions of Pokemon Clover, and this Pokemon actually had Water Absorb, which is actually extremely broken. That means Water Absorb basically means it absorbs all water attacks. And it's a fire type, so it's meant to be weak to water. They actually nerfed her kind of hard by making Water Absorb a hidden ability, which basically means you can't get it until you beat the game. And it makes it a lot harder to find them also, because they changed the location for Chizetta from being in the beginning of the game to being like much later in the game, pretty much the second half of the game. This alien Pokemon, Psychic Steel, called Uwado. And I also had this bug dragon type called Mantrake, and I replaced him with Reckroach because I had too many dark types on my team. I wanted more utility. The gym battles are actually quite hilarious. You fight people like Kanye, Snoop Dogg, Freddie Mercury. In fact, most of the characters in the game are references to like meme culture or like edgy people in real life, 4chan memes. Also, if you're wondering if there's a post-game, there actually is a post-game where you can fight the gym leaders over again, or you can fight leaders of the Abin Islands. Most ROM hacks never get finished, or they never even have post-game, so the fact that this one has a post-game is actually really cool. I won't spoil things like the Elite Four because I'll let you experience those things on your own if you haven't played this hack. But they're very funny references to a lot of like meme characters or video game characters. They actually are some of the hardest fights in the game for me personally, and they have a lot of hard-hitting Pokemon, so I had to change my team's moveset midway through the Elite Four to try to counter their strategy. It kind of gets crazy that to do that in a Pokemon game, considering Pokemon games nowadays, you just spam one move and you just win. You bring in your Pokemon that beats theirs, and then you just win. One of the Elite Four members had a team of really hard-hitting physical attackers, and I had to start using Reflect on my team just to counter his Pokemon. I really can't remember a time where in a single-player Pokemon game I willingly decided to use the move Reflect. I don't think it's ever happened. It's mainly like a competitive-only move, really. A lot of the main series games are so easy, there's no need to strategize with plays like that. One thing I will spoil though is using cheats in this game, and you're probably thinking like, why are you talking about this? Who cares if you use cheats in a ROM hack? It is a weird thing to bring up. If you use any Game Shark codes or walk-through wall codes, especially rare candy cheats, the game will detect that. And I don't know how the developers did this, but they programmed it so if you use any cheats whatsoever, the game will read that, and then once you beat the Elite Four and the champion, you'll actually be arrested in-game and sent to jail, where you're given the option to either hang yourself in that room or nothing, really. There is nothing else you can do. You get the noose, and then you just, your game restarts basically. It's pretty crazy, so I don't recommend using cheats. I don't recommend doing that whatsoever. Grind on your own, don't use rare candies, don't use walk through walls. Just do everything legit. Play this game legit, you will enjoy it. You'll have fun playing it. There's a post game too. If you use the cheats, you can't even get to the post game. You go to jail forever basically. You have to restart your save from scratch. So don't use cheats. Also, if you plan on Nuzlocking this game, I don't recommend it at all. Do not Nuzlock this game. This game will eat you alive. For those who don't know, Nuzlocking is basically Fire Emblem permadeath added in a Pokemon game. So if your Pokemon faints or you lose your Pokemon in battle, you can't use it ever again. You have to release it in the PC. And also, like, some of the smaller rules are like the first Pokemon you see in any route you have to catch, and you can only catch that Pokemon. This game does not play nice if you plan on doing a Nuzlocke. It doesn't hold back. There is a Pokemon actually called Motherfuck, and where it literally is made to troll the player. It's a ground flying type. Its ability is Shadow Tag, so your Pokemon can't switch out or leave the battle. And it actually hits really hard. Its stats are pretty decent. So basically, if you see this Pokemon, be prepared to cry yourself to sleep, because it's gonna end your life. The moves that it normally carries is Explosion, Spore, Perish Song, and actually even Destiny Bond. So if you try to kind of kill it, or oh, I can just kill this Pokemon, it's fine. Most of the time they have Focus Sash, so you're guaranteed to get hit by this thing. Literally, there is a character in the game that just runs in front of you in this cave, and it's an unavoidable battle, and his entire team has this Pokemon. So if you're playing a Nuzlock, you're guaranteed to lose something, especially if you don't know that this trainer is coming. Not only that, but aside from this Pokemon, there's like other Pokemon out there that will carry moves like Explosion, and you won't even expect it. So if you're doing a Nuzlock, good luck. Okay, that's all I have to say. Is good luck. Let me know if you do it. If you do it, I'll tip my fedora. I'll tip it off to you. Good luck if you decide to do that. This game will eat you alive. So I basically believe that this ROM hack is probably one of the best ROM hacks that has come out in 2020. And I've played my Pokemon Glazed, I've played Liquid Crystal, so on and so forth. I know a thing or two about a good ROM hack. What I think Pokemon Clover does best out of any of these ROM hacks is it pushes the boundaries of what a Pokemon game should be. I felt the level of strategy was on point in this game, not being able to use revives in battles, your opponent switching out on you, the limit on amount of potions that you can use per battle. All that stuff is like really fresh and new, especially in the ROM hacking community. Even in Pokemon in general, that stuff's really fresh. So if you want a fresh Pokemon experience where you're kind of forced to have some challenging battles, I recommend Pokemon Clover. It feels genuine, it's not afraid to break Pokemon conventions. I feel the Pokemon games in the main series struggle on how hard to make their games, so by making them ridiculously easy, just because that's what they normally do. But this game actually tries to do something new. Not only that, but it pushes the boundaries of what a Game Boy Advance hack really is. It's crazy how ambitious and how many Pokemon that are just brand new and like you can even that you can fall in love and enjoy. They're really impressive and really well made. Even though most of them are jokes and have some sort of meme behind them, you'll probably find one that you'll eventually like. So if you're turned off by the fact that the game is made by people on 4chan, I wouldn't let that be the reason why you don't give this ROM hack a chance. It's actually really well made and I really enjoyed it. Alright, so that's going to be the video, you guys. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys checking out my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Yeah, I'm going to keep this end card real short. So yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Have a good day.